Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, December 15th, 2016. I'm Alexandra Garcia.
And I'm Ian Sachs. Welcome to the Local Live.
The town of Mamaroneck announces the start of their 2017 Property Update Reassessment Project.
Mamaroneck High School appoints an interim principal.
Mamaroneck students aim to solve real-world problems with their new prototype.
The Mamaroneck basketball team makes the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
The best restaurant in the country is in Westchester. This and more local stories in our segment, In the Media.
On tonight's roundtable, we'll chat with Malcolm Frouman, the president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck Hunger Task Force. Let's find out together how we can help those in need this holiday season.
A property reassessment project will start in 2017 in the town of Mamaroneck. Supervisor Nancy Sellingson announced that in a few weeks, residents of the town will be receiving data mailers with information about their property inventory. Residents will have to confirm the information on the survey, as well as updating information if the property inventory has changed. The town hired GAR Associates to conduct the assessment, and they have produced an informational video to help residents understand the project. Here's a quick recap of the video.
Data mailers will be sent out in December to ensure the accuracy of the town's property inventory data. A data mailer will be sent defining what the town currently has on file for your parcel. If there are any discrepancies, please make the change on the document and return to the assessor's office by no later than January 14th of 2017. A commercial data mailer is also going out requesting income and expense data and other information relevant to commercial valuation, and we ask that those be returned to GAR Associates also by January 14th of 2017. Data mailers were mailed and returned to the town, as well as interior and property inspections conducted in the 2013 project as part of the initial revaluation. We understand for many properties the inventory has not changed, but the populated mailer will inform new residents of their property inventory and remind existing residents what the town has on file for their property. If work to your home has been performed or is planned, it is possible your inventory has changed or will change by the taxable status date of May 1st. A combination of computer-derived values along with appraiser review create the new assessments, which will be available online and in the assessor's office June 1st. Full market valuation, or 100% level of assessment, is the town standard for property assessments, and performing reassessment allows the town to maintain its level and uniformity. The quality of the data available is a major factor in determination of the valuation accuracy. The reason town-wide reassessment projects are needed at specific intervals is that properties appreciate and depreciate differently over time and at different rates. It is important to routinely conduct town-wide projects to ensure property owners are only paying their fair share of the tax burden, no more or no less, and to adhere to New York State Office of Real Property Tax Service guidelines.
Remember that you can find the full video on the Town of Mamaroneck website at www.townofmamaroneck.org.
The Mamaroneck Schools Board of Education named Dr. Scott Mosenthal to serve as interim high school principal beginning January 3rd. Dr. Mosenthal was a principal in the Irvington Union Free School District for 15 years. Prior to that, he taught English in the Irvington Public School District at both the middle school and high school levels for 23 years. He was officially appointed during the December 7th board meeting.
Dr. Mosenthal will replace current principal Dr. Barbara Ferraro, who will be taking over from Dr. Peter Mustish as superintendent of schools. In an announcement on the Mamaroneck Schools website, Dr. Ferraro said that she was pleased having Dr. Mosenthal join the Mamaroneck family and said, quote, "He brings a wealth of experience to the position. His strong curriculum background, passion for teaching and learning, and commitment to working with high school students make him the perfect candidate."
Mamaroneck High School computer science students participated in a local tournament to help design a safer railroad crossing. Their prototype included an on-track car removal device using a computerized conveyor belt system and laser sensors using a microcontroller and Legos. The tournament was organized by Alan Brody, widower of Ellen Brody, who was killed tragically in February of 2015 when her SUV was hit by a Metro North commuter train in Valhalla.
Here's Kayla Coughlin with what's trending in the media.
Are you a high school student that's into serious competition but not that into athletics? Well, Mamaroneck High School's new debate team is perfect for you. The team was launched in the fall and it now has 40 active members. Students and staff are very excited about the debate team, so head on over to theloopny.com to get the full story. The Industrial Development Agency and Local Development Corporation totaled $604 million in private investment this year. The IDA and LDC gave financial support to a number of projects in Westchester County, including the $35 million construction of 100 rental units at the Sheldrake Station development in Mamaroneck. These projects created over 2,000 jobs. To learn more about the IDA and the LDC and to see what projects they have taken part in, go to the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. On Friday, December 9th, a Massachusetts man was arrested for possession of drugs. James N. Polcari was stopped on I-95 for traffic violations, where it was discovered that he had 11 ounces of marijuana and other controlled substances. He was taken to the New Rochelle barracks, where he was charged and was released on appearance tickets. If you want all the details about the arrest, go to the Larchmont Mamaroneck patch. Some major news for Westchester. A Westchester restaurant has been named Best in the Country. Eater, a national food site, listed Dan Barber's Blue Hill at Stone Barns in Pecanico Hills as the #1 restaurant in America. Blue Hill is set on a beautiful farm where the produce and livestock used in dishes are maintained. Owner Dan Barber also works to eliminate food waste. Blue Hill really is an impressive place, so go and check it out at the MamaroneckDailyVoice.com. The towers for the new Tappan Zee Bridge have finally been completed. Dignitaries and government officials gathered on the strand of the Tappan Zee Bridge on Tuesday to celebrate the developments. Bridge officials have said that 90% of support structures have been placed and 1/3 of the stay cables have been anchored. Residents should expect the new Tappan Zee Bridge to be completed in 2018. If you want to learn more about the construction project, go to LOHUD.com. If you can find it online, you can find it right here in the media. I'm Kayla Coughlin.
Now it's time for some local trivia. Then on tonight's roundtable, we'll chat with Larchmont Mamaroneck Hunger Task Force on ways to help those in need this holiday season. Stay tuned.
Can you imagine holiday time without food? They go together, well, like peanut butter and jelly. But food insecurity is a real problem here. We'll be discussing what you can do to help. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Michael Witch. You can join our conversation. You can call us, email, or send a tweet. The contact information will be on your screen.
Our guest is the president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck Hunger Task Force, also known as the Food Pantry. Malcolm Frouman, thank you for joining us. A lot of people have a misconception or image of who needs help providing food for themselves or their families. As I understand it, it's people of all or many ethnicities, different ages, and for different reasons. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the fact is that among our many clients at the food pantry, and every 2 weeks we provide food for over 360 or so households. That represents maybe 1,500 or 1,600 people, including over 400 children. And the fact is, it runs the gamut from young families with many household members. You have single people living alone. We have seniors who who live in various housing developments in the area. So it really runs the gamut. And in terms of demographics, while I would say the majority of our clients, as we call them, are Hispanic, along with the Hispanic clients, we also have Caucasians, African Americans, Asians. Hunger
Knows no ethnicity.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
And some of these people are employed or retired. It's not just people who are unemployed.
You might have people who are employed but are just not earning enough money to provide food for their entire household from one paycheck to the next. People who are unemployed, people who are employed occasionally part-time, and retired people and people who are struggling for other reasons. May have to do with medical situations.
What does the food pantry do?
Oh, where to begin? Every 2 weeks, we have a food distribution. And we distribute food both on Tuesday evenings and Wednesday mornings. So the clients who can't come in the evening have an opportunity to come in the morning. And the whole cycle begins when, on a Tuesday morning, a couple of large trucks arrive to deliver food, and we have volunteers. We refer to them as the upstairs truck shift. And they're helping to unload the food and get it down conveyor belts to the space we have at the Community Resource Center on Center Avenue in Mamaroneck. And downstairs, we have the downstairs truck shift. And these are people who are taking all these cartons of groceries and produce and staging everything so that when our packing shift comes in at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to pack the individual cloth bags that we use to hand out food to our clients, everything's set up for them. And the packing shift I describe as controlled chaos because you have dozens of volunteers ranging in age from kids from the Homics, from the high school, to adults, to retired people. And there are these various stations. It's like an assembly line where people are going, the bags travel down these, handed over to one person to the next, filling it up with groceries, with cereal, with canned goods, with pasta, and fresh produce. And then at around 6:30 in the evening distribution begins. And along with being president of the food pantry, I also manage the Tuesday evening food distribution. And that's when we distribute food to clients who've been lining up maybe an hour or two in advance.
Really?
And the fact is that our Tuesday night distribution gets probably 2/3 of our clients because more people are available to come in the evening than in the morning. And on Thursday morning, we have our, on Wednesday morning, we have our second distribution, and there's another crew for that. And
Now,
that's a typical cycle.
A client can't just walk in and say, I need some food, though.
Here's the way it works. Someone comes in for the first time. We always give them food. We never turn anyone away. But we also point out to them that we are the Larchmont Mamaroneck Hunger Task Force. We provide food for residents of either of those communities. Up until a few years ago, there were some financial requirements necessary. People had to demonstrate that they were at least no more than 150% over the national poverty level. New regulations prevent us from asking for any financial information. So the only requirement is that they demonstrate that they're a resident of either Larchmont or Mamaroneck. Someone comes in from, say, New Rochelle or from Pelham, we'll give them food, and then we'll refer to them to the food pantry that might serve them in their community.
Do they have to be referred by an agency?
Good question. Along with, when they come in for the first time, if it's someone who lives in Larchmont and Mamaroneck, we hand them an application. And on the application, they put down their name and their address, the names of all the people in their household, and their ages. So it gives us an idea of who we're providing food to, and also depending on the size of the household, will determine how much food we give them. And we have 3 categories of quantities of food: small, large, and extra large, depending on the number of people in the household. Along with the registration form, we give them a list of what we call our authorized agencies. We ask them to take that registration form to one of these agencies to verify that they are indeed residents of either Larchmont or Mamaroneck.
And there are actually restrictions or obligations of the people who are getting food in terms of, I believe, I was looking at it, you can refuse to serve people under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that's we list that on our website. It's rare that we have situations like that. Look, given the range of people that come in, these are individuals and families that are struggling, and along with struggling to provide enough food, they have the same kinds of personal issues that anyone might have. Right. But the good news is that most of the time at our distributions, there rarely are any problems. Occasionally someone might be arguing about, well, I was first in line and you were second. But
as in any line that we would find.
Yeah.
Is there a greater need for food at this time of year?
Not really. My sense is, and we keep track of our statistics from one distribution to the next, and while there's more demand during the holiday, and I'll explain why. For example, for our pre-Thanksgiving distribution, we hand out turkeys, although we hand out not only turkeys, but we give our clients a choice of either a turkey or a chicken. Interesting, up until a couple of years ago, we gave all our clients turkeys in the lead up to Thanksgiving. And then at the Community Resource Center where we're housed, someone there told me, some of your clients, particularly the Hispanic ones, might not want a turkey. Why? Either culturally it's something that they're not interested in, and more interestingly, many of them may not have an oven or an oven large enough to cook a turkey. So we conducted a poll a couple of years ago, and it turns out, sure enough, 40% of our clients would prefer a chicken to a turkey.
Interesting.
So to answer your question about the holiday season, first of all, more people turn out for our pre-Thanksgiving and pre-Christmas distributions because they know that there are extra things being handed out. So we get a bigger turnout. But I would say in general, the need is the same all year round.
There was
yes, we have a question.
Oh.
That came in, and I'll read it from
the next question, please. If you could ask them to scroll down.
Okay, but we have two questions that came in.
Yeah.
The first wanted to know, the viewer wanted to know if a green card is necessary to get food.
As I said, the only requirement we have is residency.
Okay.
Yes.
And the second question is from a viewer who says, I have a frozen turkey, I want to donate it, how can I do that?
Bring it to the food pantry.
Frozen.
Frozen, yeah, at our pantry, where we distribute food in the lower level of the Community Resource Center, there's a big open space where the distribution goes on. And then in the back, we have a closet where we have a bank of refrigerators and freezers. So we can easily accommodate receiving frozen food. In fact, some of the food that we distribute comes in frozen, and we keep it frozen until it's handed out.
Can you donate food anytime, or are there specific times?
We prefer that people bring donations of food while we're operating on a Tuesday or Wednesday every other week. But there are opportunities also to drop it off at other times. If Tuesday and Wednesday just isn't convenient for them, we can make arrangements, since it's the Community Resource Center and there are people there during the day, to drop it off, and they'll receive it for us.
Well, let's talk about the kinds of foods people can donate. There are other ways you can get involved, but in terms of foods, we put out something of a sampling of the things from your website.
Yeah.
One of them, I thought, could use some explanation. I mean, there's pasta, there's tomato sauce and tuna and beans and
cereal,
peanut butter and cereal. But this is shelf-stable milk. I think that you guys call it Parmalat, but
well, that's a brand.
That's a brand.
Yeah. We Milk is, as you would imagine, an important item for many of our clients. But it would just be too difficult to hand out fresh milk. So we will offer our clients either shelf-stable milk like this, but except that we don't get that particular brand. It's usually Parmalat. Or we will offer them powdered milk. And it's very, very popular. As you can imagine, particularly for families with children.
Right.
Yeah.
I was curious when you told us about the trucks that roll up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where does the food come from?
I'm glad you asked
in
that.
those trucks.
We buy about 90% of the food that we distribute, we buy ourselves with money that's donated to the food pantry. And we purchase, I would say, about 50 or 60% of our food from Food Bank for Westchester, which is a nonprofit organization which is part of a whole consortium of like agencies that are also part of Feed America. And Food Bank for Westchester is a big warehouse that receives food from and purchases food from manufacturers. They're able to purchase it in bulk at very reasonable prices, and in turn enables us to buy it at very low prices, a lot less than if we went to the supermarket and shopped for this food. What we can't get from Food Bank, because from one distribution to the next, the range of selection from Food Bank is limited by what's available from the manufacturers that provide food to them. Whatever we can't get from them, because we make it a point of providing a nutritionally balanced selection of food. So if we can't get it from Food Bank, we go to our other wholesaler, a company based in New Jersey called Driscoll Foods. And a lot of the fresh produce that we buy, we get from Driscoll, along with usually the eggs that we purchase, we get from Driscoll, along with what you're showing here. I mean, these are the types of foods that we ask people to donate because they're shelf stable. It's canned, it's packaged, doesn't require refrigeration. But among the foods that we distribute are ground meats and frozen fish and yogurt, things that require refrigeration. That we'll buy from our wholesaler, including eggs and also fresh bread.
Malcolm, obviously, besides people donating food, how else can they help?
Well, as I just mentioned, since we buy most of our food ourselves, 95% of the food that we distribute, we rely on private donations. And I mean, you have
of money, not just food.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, private donations of money, yes. It's interesting, within our community, you think about Larchmont and Mamaroneck, and you imagine a fairly affluent community. And yet, within our communities, and particularly in Mamaroneck, there's this sub-community of struggling families. So on the one hand, you have these struggling families, but the good news is we have a lot of generous donors who, when it comes time for our fundraising campaign, step up and are very generous with providing donations.
And you also need muscle.
Well,
for packing, unpacking, loading.
Along with the contributions that we use for buying food, that kind of contribution, we also require the contributions of people, whether it's muscle or other
organization
expertise. Exactly.
Okay.
And you know, one of the real sources of gratification I get from working at the food pantry is, one, first and foremost, we get to help a lot of people. Second, as I said, to witness the generosity of the residents. And finally, it's the selflessness of the over 100 volunteers that work at the food pantry every week, every time we have a distribution. They're out in numbers. I described to you what needs to be done, whether it's schlepping big cartons or packing bags or helping our clients with different assistance.
You mentioned volunteers. Among them, you had some HOMIC students, and they would be, what, 13, 14 years old? How old do you have to be? We had a viewer question come in.
A good question. If the general policy is if you're under 15 years old, you need to be accompanied by an adult. Okay. So if kids from the HOMICs are coming to volunteer, usually they're accompanied by a teacher or maybe parents. for my distribution on, say, on a Tuesday night, I've always had a handful of high school students who come there like clockwork every other week. And of course, what happens is after 3 or 4 years of working on our shift, they go off to college. So after we recruit new high school students. So to work at the food pantry unaccompanied by an adult, it's good to be at least 15 years old.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for joining us. You can get more information on how to help, www.lmfoodpantry.org.
Perfect.
Great.
I wanted to sneak in a congratulations because I read on your website that the Hunger Task Force won an award this past June.
Yes.
A volunteer award?
Food Bank for Westchester has annual awards, and this year the volunteer award went to the Hunger Task Force. It was really nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks for mentioning that.
And I thought we'd mention that the local live will be donating our props to the food pantry.
I'll be happy to accept that.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for
much.
joining us, Malcolm.
Thank you, and stay tuned. We've got more coming up on the Local Live.
This week in sports, Rhinebeck senior Peter Gallagher turns a simple free throw into a 4-point swing in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
And gets the front iron, and it's good.
3 points for Gallagher, intercepted by Gallagher, the three at the buzzer is good! Peter Gallagher with the 4-point play, and now it's a 6-point game, and it was a 10-point game. What a play on the interception as he hits the three, and all of a sudden there's some life in this Rhinebeck gym.
How about that? The steal off the inbounds after making the free throw, puts up the desperation three, changes the entire feel in that locker room right now.
Boy, what month is this?
Why, it's December, sir.
Ah, I have not missed it. There is still time to donate to LMC-TV.
Annie's a calm 8 or 9 months old hound mix. She was originally found severely malnourished in a state park in Texas. She plays well with large dogs and is very well socialized. For more information on how to adopt or browse other adorable pets, go to www.ny-petrescue.org.
Ah, she's so cute. Remember, if you'd like to keep us on the air, support our program by checking out our website at www.lmctv.org and click on the donate button in the upper right-hand corner. We'll really appreciate any contribution.
We are always welcoming new interns and volunteers, so send your emails to the local live at lmctv.org and join us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Alexandria Garcia.
And I'm Ian Sachs. See you next week on another episode of The Local Live.